of the most important subject areas to be successful in life are currently not being taught in schools. Therefore, I propose that we need an educational revolution to include these 4 topics in our curriculum: finances, health, relationships, and intuition. I call these the 4 pillars because they form a strong, stable foundation upon which we can become successful in life. And if even one of them is missing from our life, severe consequences can result. The failure to include these 4 subjects in school is evident all around us. 1.2 million students drop out of school every year. That's about 1 student every 26 seconds. 38% of households are in credit card debt, and about 45% of marriages end in divorce. And I think one of the saddest statistics is that the number of children in school who are obese has tripled since the 1970s. So rather than listening to their own inner voice, teens now are turning to social media to find answers to their big life questions. The 4 pillars are all interconnected, so the absence of one can affect all the others. For example, if we have ill health, we know that can affect our relationships, our money, and our jobs. Likewise, if we don't understand relationships, we can find problems. For example, my uncle was a genius in the field of engineering, yet he was passed up time and again for the position of manager because he had no people skills. We also know that failure to understand money can lead to problems in our marriage because statistics show that money disputes are one of the #1 cause for divorce. You might ask, why can't I just rely on experts in these areas? I wish I could say that we could, but the world has changed and it's becoming more difficult to trust experts. One of the reasons is that money, rather than our well-being, has become the #1 motive. So the time has come for us to become our own advocates, and with proper education in these 4 pillars, we can empower the youth of today to take their power back. I think the biggest argument for needing to teach these concepts in school is because they offer practical knowledge that we can use in our lives. If you've ever sat in a classroom learning something like, I don't know, the hierarchical structure of multicellular organisms and thought to yourself, I'm never going to use this in my life, you're probably not alone because we all crave practical information that we can use in our life. For example, I have a friend whose daughter just graduated from college and doesn't even know how to balance a checkbook. So I've been in the position like many of you today perhaps who were not adequately educated in these 4 areas in school. And as a result, I experienced health crises, loss of direction in life, and financial problems. I had to learn the hard way, and since then, I've been able to educate myself in these 4 areas. And I want to help the youth of today avoid these unnecessary pitfalls. I've taught for 13 years in 5 different schools in the United States and abroad, and I kept getting discouraged at the curriculum because I felt it was boring, a lot of it was not practical. I mean, I wanted to be teaching this cutting-edge information, but I was always restricted. I even went to a private school hoping to find more freedom, but once again, I found myself disappointed. And I think that colleges and schools are the perfect place to teach these concepts because kids need this information early on. Timing is of the essence when we find ourselves in a crisis situation and need to know. I can't tell you how many times I've heard adults say, I wished I'd learned that in school, myself included. Our college years are when we're making important life decisions. We're choosing a major that will become the foundation for our career. If we were taught how to tap into our intuition, we would know what to major in. We wouldn't make a career choice based on what was the best paying job in the market at the time, but rather a choice based on our purpose, our interest, and our passions. As a former teacher, I can attest to the need for teaching kids about relationships. One of the biggest causes of class disruption when I was teaching was students fighting with each other because they just could not get along. So why aren't these topics taught in schools? The answer is important because it is part of the solution. So I challenge you to find someone who is educated in these 4 pillars during school. If you can't find anyone, I think you'll agree it's time for a revolution in our schools to include these core concepts. The youth of today deserve it, and together we can create a new generation of self-empowered people.